A very good morning to you. The weather has been really beautiful across Lagos this morning. I hope you're enjoying it as we are here. Off the Press is what you're watching, and we will be taking a look at the headlines in our newspaper review. I have with me two guests to help with that. Obinna Igwebuike, a management consultant. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you.
Tobosun, Akeju, reputation manager. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, we will start with the New Telegraph. We have quite a number of papers here already. We have the Punch. We also have the Vanguard and some other papers you get to know as we go. But for now, we're starting with the New Telegraph. The New Telegraph has this big screamer: "I will reunite Nigerians, run inclusive government," says Buhari. It has three riders: "I'll recover my stolen mandate," Atiku vows. PDP agents refuse to endorse INEC's result sheet. ACF to Atiku: accept defeat, congratulate Buhari. That's on the front page of the New Telegraph. We also have at the very top, Ekpeong: money intimidation failed. Akpabio says, "I defeated ex-governor with prayers, people's support." That's how Ekpeong is reacting to his win. Let's go to the very bottom of the paper. There are some graphics on the front: geographical voting pattern in the 2019 presidential election. You might want to go grab yourself a copy of the New Telegraph for that. President's victory celebration: 3 killed, 2 shot, policemen injured in Kaduna, Lagos, Osun. You find details of that story on page 8. Study says heavy smoking increases risk of damaged vision. So don't smoke, or you start using 4 eyes like me. All right, on the back page of the New Telegraph, we have truncating Jonathan's journey, political musing. That's something on the back page, and spot the difference, a little something to keep you busy. Let's get to our guest in the studio. We start with you. Which of this headline would you want to pick on first?
I think the screamer, Buhari making a commitment to saying he will reunite Nigerians and run an inclusive government. And that's grabbing my attention because one thing that I have consistently said is that the election is just a phase in the democratic process. I think what is more important is the position of active citizenship, where we're constantly engaging governments in almost a day-to-day or decision-to-decision basis, because that is how we can move forward. We cannot be docile. So even after the election, when government come up with policies, we must properly understand those policies, because every policy is a value shift. So when there's a value shift, you're shifting value from one person to the other. The person you're taking that value from will most likely not want to release it. So there's propensity for the person to want to fight back, even if the new policy is in the benefit of everybody. And then nobody has monopoly of knowledge. So active citizenship is very important. So I was very impressed to hear President Buhari say he will run an inclusive government, and I really, really hope that he will keep to that.
That's the operative word, hope. Okay, which headline would you want to talk about?
I mean, I'll just echo some of the thoughts he shared. Is obvious from the elections that a lot of, in many states, in some parts of the country, so I mean south, southeast, essentially people turn their backs against the ruling party. How the ruling party and the president especially is able to include people from that section of the country very actively, I think will be very important, because I mean, we have a national budget that is supposed to cover all 36 states. We hope that it is truly inclusive, because it's very obvious that barring what happened in the north and in some sections of the southwest, the president probably would not have won the election.
There is, previously when he won and he was asked about those that didn't vote for him, he said he was going to concentrate on those that voted for him. Do you think this statement was strategic or a true commitment to, trying to include all Nigerians in this last leg of his presidency?
You said the right thing. I mean, and I think it's very reassuring. We just hope that that's what we'll see. Yeah.
Hopefully. The Punch newspaper is next for review this morning. We have Atiku. I've never seen our democracy so debased as it was on Saturday. It has a rider. That's it on your screen. We won't recognize Buhari as president beyond May 29. Opposition parties. You find details of that story on page 2 of the paper. At the top mast, you will see 9th Assembly to get 15 ex-governors as senators. Details on page 23. Presidential poll results. Afenifere kicks. Ondo APC jubilate. So while there is celebration for some, there is not so much of a celebration for others. They're strategizing on how they will get their stolen mandate, so to speak. President dedicates victory to God. Nigerians unfolds agenda. Victims of Rivers election violence will get justice. That's APC. Youth celebrating Buhari's victory attack policemen in Lagos. Going to tribunal, not right decision, Agbakoba tells Atiku. And on the back page of the Punch newspaper, we have, there's it on your screen, INEC, professors and analog elections. That's Thursday with Abimbola. All right, let's go back to the front page and get our analysts to share their thoughts on this. I'll start with you. Which of these would you like to talk on?
I mean, the opposition party is talking tough. But I think that in the interest of democracy, let's move on. Look, the gap in the polls was quite. I mean, yeah, there might have been issues here and there, but I think the win was quite convincing based on what we've seen, and I think it's really an opportunity for us to rally together. I still think that the opposition candidate should give should call the president and congratulate him, even if he's still going to the polls. I think it's only sportsmanly. I think it's mature to do that. And then let's see what happens at the courts.
You're dismissing his concerns, because if he does have concerns that there is something not quite right with the process, no matter how minute it is, don't you think in a real democracy this issue should be given some headroom to be heard?
And that's why we have the courts. That's why we have the tribunal.
Yeah, but if he does call the president to congratulate him, it's almost like he considering defeat, and that's not what he wants.
I mean, I think he has the liberty to call or not to call, and he's also his right to challenge, the case in court. What I think our leaders should not do is to make a statement like we would not recognize someone that, as the Constitution or the electoral process has stated, as being called the president.
Exactly.
When I saw the tweets of a former minister, day before yesterday, I was surprised, because this former minister is even a lawyer. And the funny thing is, he tweeted, and 6 hours later, he didn't delete it, but he made a tweet that kind of
contradicted what? Not
so much, but gave, a gap to be able to defend what he said, because he had made a very bad statement, actually saying Atiku should run, a parallel government. And that's treasonable. But he came back to say, not after he has gone to court and all of that. And I'm like, you're not supposed to say that. If you have the interest of the whole country at heart, go through the process, and try everything within your power to see that you've gone through the process. And if you I looked at the heat map between 2015 and 2019. As a matter of fact, the PDP actually gained ground. So if you look at the heat map, the same places where Buhari won in 2015, almost the same places he has won. The places he lost. For example, Southwest or your state, he won in 2015. He did not win this time. The margins, even if you look at Lagos State and all of that, there's the allegation of voter suppression and all of that. And I feel that the fact that whatever happened that made INEC postpone the presidential election already was a problem, because people were not going to come out the second time.
And this will be a talking point for months to come, because there will continue to be developments to this election, even as we await the March 2009 election. Let's move on to the Vanguard newspaper now. We have, "I'll run an inclusive government," Buhari pledges, and that's what was captured on the New Telegraph that we looked at earlier. That's the Vanguard newspaper is what we're on now. Let's not get confused. A couple of riders, there you have it. A couple of riders on the front page. I'll just take about two of them. Folds its margins of victory in states outside Southeast, South-South. How and why Buhari won. You find details of all of that on page 43. There is the presidential election result on the front page, if you would like to take a quick look at that. And then at the very bottom of the paper, we have those doubting 1.464 million votes for Buhari in Kanu ignorance. That's Ganduje speaking. And results declared by INEC were verified. That's UK. Autumn, Akume in verbal war over billboards destruction ahead of the governorship election. We are going to get a new distraction soon out of this when the campaign for governorship hits up. Buhari condemns Sokoto Kaduna killings. That's on the front page still. And our favorite cartoon characters are also there for your entertainment this morning. At the very top mast of the Vanguard newspaper, let's see if they'll flip to it for you. There you have it. You have Buhari's victory sparks crisis in Lagos or your Abuja. Southwest governors hail his re-election. Details on page 10 and 11. A little bit of business here. Dangote with $16.6 billion, now 64th richest man in the world. First in Africa. He's been maintaining that position for a while. 25 killed in presidential NAS elections. That's another in its own little cubicle on top of the paper, Vanguard. On the back page, of course, we have sports. We'll get to that in a bit. Let's just get you guys in here. We've talked a lot about this. Okay, let's look at this response by the UK, for instance.
I think that the United Kingdom saying that the INEC results were verified is a position that the government has taken. You have the right to accept it or not. If you have proof of otherwise, you have the right to present the proof otherwise, because it's all about perspective. So, but what this does is, Nigeria, we always say we have the big brothers. The Western world is like big brothers. So when they come into, the situation and say, "Oh, everybody calm down," it seems like we usually listen to them. If that is right or wrong, the jury is out on that. But if the UK, they're saying that they verified the result, I think that it's a plus for INEC. It will help calm the polity and we'll be fine. But if you allow me, one headline there that has got my attention is Dangote becoming the 64th richest man in the world. And it's very interesting because I believe that one of the things they've said has added to his wealth is the new fertilizer factory that is coming up. That has added significantly, to his wealth, and is even projected to now affect his conglomerates across chain. And it's a point of lesson for the country because whatever you think, the Dangote brand as, being dedicated in a way to investing in Nigeria, and the benefit of investing in Nigeria has even now spilled over to African countries. We make, my friends, we joke about him being the bride of Africa because presidents of other countries have a way of saying they're wooing him, to their country to come and invest in it. So it's very, I'm very happy to, hear that, and I'm just hoping that this value will trickle down across all the industries, that Nigeria too will have something positive and everything that comes from it.
Obinna, you've been nodding your head. You seem to agree with him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'd look at Buhari's promise to restructure the economy. The truth is, there were 3 cardinal points on which he was elected in 2015: corruption, security, and the economy. Well, I think the jury is largely out on corruption and security, because we've had marginal gains, but I think we've also had marginal losses. So that's almost neutral. But I think even the president himself has said a couple of times that in terms of the economy, we can actually do better than we're doing right now. It's, they've done a lot. We've had a lot of initiatives, but I think it's time to really run a progressive economy. We need policies that will bring back the middle class. I've said here a couple of times, and I'd repeat it, the Petroleum Industry Governance Bill, that has to be looked into. Forex controls and foreign exchange management, that has to be looked into. And then we need policies that will really, really build capacity outside agriculture. So we need to look at services, technology, fintechs especially. I mean, there's a couple of tax policies that are catalytic, but I think they need to be beyond just tax policies. We need to look at real fiscal policies that will actually stimulate growth in the economy. That's very critical.
All right, what we'll do now is take a look at two papers at the same time. We have The Nation and This Day. I'm just going to capture some of the headlines and get you to look at it. We'll start with The Nation newspaper. Of course, it's reoccurring the election. Peaceful polls, victory for Nigeria, says Buhari. That's it on your screen. UK African leaders hail Buhari Tinubu, its historic step forward. And then at the very top, we have court reserves judgment in Onoge's case. Federal government, states, local government shares 610 billion naira. Dangote's world's 64th richest. We've just talked about that. Let's go to the very bottom of the paper where we have security uncovers plot by PDP, others to discredit poll, winners and losers. You'll find details of these on several pages of the paper, starting from page 2 to 741 and the likes. All right, ACF. Labour urge Atiku to surrender. Jubilation in cities and towns over the elections. And at the very bottom, we have Kwara monarchs endorse Abdul Razak. Police confirm 29 deaths in Kaduna attack. At the back of the paper, we have editorial notebook. Atiku calls Obasanjo. That's something of interest. If you would want to go take a look at it, please be our guest. This day, next up, we have my election is victory for Nigeria, says Buhari. That's it on your front page. And Aliko Dangote becoming 64th richest man in the world. What, $16.6 billion, still #1 in Africa. There you have it. Stock market capitalization down by 85 billion naira. That's also at the very top mast of This Day newspaper. And just beside the picture of Buhari and his better half, we have Atiku. This is the worst election in 30 years. Okay, we go to the very bottom, to the riders, to the screamer on the front page. That's my election. There you have it. My election is victory for Nigeria, says Buhari. It has three riders, actually. Promises inclusive government, receives certificate of return. UK, China, others congratulate the president on his re-election. And on the back of the paper, we have the message from Kwara. There you have it on your screen. Gentlemen, let's dig into this. I'll start with you, Obinna.
Well, I think the story on the stock market, people have made there's been a lot of narratives around it. But what I tell people is the stock market is not always your best barometer, because it's really around sentiments. It's a very emotional environment, I think that over time, some of these gains will even out. I think that if the president is able to communicate a coherent economic strategy that makes sense, that is implementable, and that factors in some of the challenges we've had, especially around revenue generation and taxation, and just the macroeconomic stability. I think the stock market will eventually even out. People are running away from stocks and going into fixed incomes, which is showing that the market is a bit scared. Maybe it would have been different if it was the PDP that won. But I think anyway, the market will have reacted adversely, positive or negative, but it will still have evened out. So it is not, for me, it's something to look out for, but it's not fatal.
Tobosun, what headline?
Same one, the stock market. And I mean, probably I have a bias for marketing comms and even in government. And what is very important is before the election, there was this general perception that if Atiku becomes the president, the economy will be better off. And if Atiku had won or had been declared the winner, I believe that story might have been different. Now, the onus is on President Buhari and his cabinet to make it a deliberate effort to market the product called Nigeria and make it more attractive for investors. If there is a perception that you're not doing well economically and you think you have the plan, because I believe that, they have good plans. Implementation is another ball game. But I think conscious and deliberate effort has to be made in marketing Nigeria. And if we're going to market properly, you also have to make sure that you have a good product, which goes back to the economic policies that are well structured and presentable to the global economy.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank you for coming. We appreciate that. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we will be talking sports. Stay with us. Good to know you didn't leave us. We're now talking sports. You're glad you did, I'm sure. Let's have Samson Oloyede joining us. Thank you very much.
Yeah, good morning.
And of course, Obinna Igwebuike, he's been with us, management consultant. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll go straight to it. Complete sports is what we have. Iwobi's Arsenal's talisman. Eagle Star grabs 46th EPL win in 90 games. And then Blues bounce back, battle for top 4. That's another screamer. Barca run riot at the Bernabeu. Okay. We also have Hazard back on top of Madrid wish list. So many headlines on here. We'll just look at that quickly. Start with you, Samson.
Yeah, Blues bounce back. That's quite impressive for Chelsea. They've had a troublesome 3 months, and it's good to see them win again. We talked about the performance against City during the Carabao Cup final. That it was quite impressive, although they ended up losing on lotteries of penalties. This time around, they replicated the performance and they were able to get the victory as well. Although there was also an help from Kieran Trippier, who scored an own goal. Overall, it seems like it's just 2 matches, but 2 matches on the bounce. The performance has improved. And then they're getting the results. They have to build on this because the fight for the top 4 is probably going to be in everyone, and it's going to last till the end of the wire.
Okay, which headline caught your attention, Obinna?
Yeah, same game. I think for Spurs, they have to be worried. If they don't get a good result against Arsenal this weekend, then it's all bets off. I mean, and this is a team that a couple of weeks ago, like 10 days ago, they were 10 points ahead of Arsenal. Now Arsenal gets a win, at White Hart Lane, then it's that whole lead evaporates and it'll put them under a lot of pressure. I don't know if they have the squad to chase that to the wire, and we might just see Arsenal sneaking, into 3rd place, which will be most unlikely, or will have been most unlikely at the start of the season. Yeah.
Well, 10 matches to go. A whole lot of things can still come to play in terms of run of fixtures, injury worries here and there. You talked about Spurs quite all right. They lost to Burnley as well, it must be said. So 2 successive losses. They can't afford to lose, a 3rd one. But it must be said that thus far they've done a very good job considering how thin their squad is. They didn't sign any player from the winter transfer window and even the summer transfer window last season. And then they've sold Dembele off. They've got injury worries, a lot here and there. It's been Son carrying them over the last 2 months. How far can Son carry them? That's a question that Pochettino would like to answer.
All right, let's see if there's anything on the back. Obviously there is. We have Hazard back on top of Madrid wish list. Yep. Lukaku favors Juve move if. And then Man City monitoring Jovic and some other. Arsenal ready to bid this amount for Tenure. Yeah, that's £25 million. Which of these would you want to talk about? Well, there's also some briefs
the
here.
Hazard story won't leave. Hazard and Real Madrid has been, they've been linked for quite a while now. And it all begs the question, is he going to leave at this summer? That's also dependent on how Chelsea finish and then how the relationship with between Sarri and his players, especially Hazard, improves. But having said that, I think that if Real Madrid really want to get him, it's all about flexing their financial muscles, and they will get him. It's all about transfers right now, speculations. It's just a build up to the summer transfer window, which will occur at the end of the season. Icardi is one that would, everyone needs to watch out for as well. He's been
Okay.
stripped of the captaincy band, at Inter Milan. He's having a run-off with the Inter Milan board as well as the coach Spalletti.
All right,
and
Samson.
considering his goals,
we'll have
come
to.
good.
Thank you very much. We'll have to
pleasure.
wrap up now. Well, time always seems to just fly away when we are talking something that we love so much. Thank you, Obinna, also for coming in.
Pleasure.
We appreciate. And that's it for now. Thank you very much for watching. Off the Press is back again tomorrow. Do stay tuned. My name is Felicity Ezewuike. Thank you for watching.